Well, is Governor Palin right? Is this a lousy deal? Congresswoman Michele Bachmann joins us. She is the founder and chair of the Tea Party Caucus. Good evening, Congresswoman. And should the Tea Party Caucus and the Tea Party movement, should they be happy with this or not?
Well, I wasn't happy with it, Greta, and I voted no on the tax bill as well. It continues deficit spending that we can't pay for. That's a clear message that we got from the voters in November. But even more than that, I'm very worried because it blows a hole wide open in the Social Security Trust Fund of $111 billion. I really think that President Obama will call for tax increases shortly to be able to pay for that. And I think what he may do is call to lift the cap on earnings subject to payroll taxes. And then I think that he may call for employers to pick up the 2% share that employees won't be paying, because the way that we fund Social Security today is in real time. It's all of our paychecks. The payroll tax comes out. It goes into the Social Security Trust Fund, and essentially it goes right out the door to pay Social Security recipients. So when we lower that amount that's going into Social Security by $111 billion, people are still depending on those checks. We have to pay them, and so we have to have some means to do it. And I think that this bill will mean a tax increase right around the corner.
All right, 138 Republicans in the House voted for this bill. What specifically, if you had a magic wand to make the perfect bill, what did you want?
I would have extended the I introduced a bill 2 days ago. It would have extended the tax cuts at current levels. It would have repealed the death tax, repealed the gift tax, continued the alternative minimum tax fix, and it would have also lowered the corporate tax rate from 34% down to 25%. The reason, Greta, is because now Japan has just decided they're going to lower their corporate tax rate 5%. That means the United States has the highest corporate tax rate in the world. If people want to know why companies are outsourcing jobs, look no further than the tax code, because now the United States has the unenviable position of being the highest tax country in the world for corporate taxes, higher than any other nation. We need to lower that corporate tax rate.
What do you make of the fact that when the president signed the bill today, there were some notable absences? The Speaker of the House wasn't there. There was the Democratic leadership of the House wasn't there, but also the Republican leadership of the House was not there, and yet this was a bipartisan bill. What should we read into the absence?
I think that there are a lot of people, certainly Speaker Pelosi was not happy with this bill, and it does mean deficit spending. So I think it was a bill that if your listeners saw the last 3 hours of debate on this bill, they saw that no one liked this bill. When you have that sort of unanimity against something, it's probably better to go back to the drawing board. And again, this year was a failure. There was no budget, no spending bill, no tax bill into the 11th hour, and the one they chose was a clunker.
In terms of the legislative record of this past year, as everyone goes home for the holidays, are the Democrats generally, the opposing party, are they generally content with what happened this year, if you even know?
I would say probably not. Certainly, individual members have individual things that they're happy about that maybe they were able to do for their district. But overall, I don't think you get a positive. And I think that's why today the United States Congress has an approval rating at an all-time low of 13%. The American people aren't happy with what they saw here in the last 2 years, and I can certainly appreciate why.
All right, Tea Party movement. What can we expect from the Tea Party movement in the next year?
Well, what we're going to see are new seminars on the Constitution. I've asked Justice Scalia to come. He's graciously accepted. He's going to kick us off. We've seen a wonderful resurgence of interest in knowing about our founding documents with the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration. And so when we come to Washington, before we cast our first vote of the week, Greta, we're going to gather for an hour in the Capitol and study the Constitution. Justice Scalia and other constitutional scholars will lead us off, and I hope maybe you'll join us and lead one of our classes as well on the subject of your choice.
Tell me, should the Republican Party, I have to think about it, I have no idea, so I'll take a pass on that. You caught me cold. But anyway, should the Republican Party be worried about the Tea Party movement if the Tea Party movement's unhappy with this bill and they're part of championing it?
I think that the Republican Party needs to recognize that people were serious about stopping the over-the-top spending that's not paid for. That's a message that the Republican Party has to listen to. People are upset about taxes, but they really want to make sure that spending comes in line with our ability to pay for it. All of these bills that people have been observing this last week, Greta, they aren't being paid for. That means a bigger and bigger deficit. And at the same time, we're watching what's happening in Greece and Italy and the UK. And this, we don't want to see this repeated here in the United States.
Congresswoman, thank you.
Thank you, Greta.